Suicide Squad number 14, written by Adam Glass, art by Fernando Dagnino. The last issue we had the battle against Regulus of the Basilisk organization, and Deadshot sacrificing himself in order to kill Regulus. And we cut to Deadshot's funeral, which apparently has full military honors, because I guess he was a Marine at some point. And the Suicide Squad, or rather just Harley, Captain Boomerang, and Waller are the only people in attendance. And Waller's kind of just chewing out Deadshot the whole time. Like, man, he took the coward's way out. Like, screw it. He didn't like his deal and he just bailed. He's not a full member of this team. He's weak in my book. But before the scene can continue anymore, it starts raining, but it's not actually rain. It's some sort of Joker toxin, whatever, because Harley is immune to it and the Joker shows up. And Joker's immediately like, hey, Harley, hi, we need to talk. And immediately Harley's like, oh, it's so good to see you again. And Joker's like, oh, hey, by the way, you have something on your face. And she's like, my face? And then he just starts beating the crap out of her, like just straight punched her in the face and all that, and starts calling her out on basically having a relationship with Deadshot, however weird that was. Also, how she went and got his face in a previous issue. And it's like, oh, I knew it smelled like your cheap cologne. But anyway, he's like, okay, well, because I knew that you like kind of were stupid on me, here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get some revenge. So he walks over to Boomerang and is just like, oh, this guy, maybe? No, you're not into him? How about Waller? I don't think you like her either. Well, there's only one person who deserves my wrath, and it's the guy you were stupid with. And he goes for the corpse of Deadshot in the coffin, and Harley pulls a gun and basically says, like, leave him alone or I'll shoot. And he's like, oh, I'll leave him alone if you do this one thing for me. And she's like, all right, what's that? And then the events of Batman number 13 happen, where she poses as Red Hood and blah, blah, blah. Go see that issue if you want. It's not covered here. So at that point, we see everyone is woken up. They're back at Belle Reve. And it's like, okay, well, Harley's gone, and we can't even begin to predict where the Joker took her, so we'll just wait until something happens on that front. Anyway, let's go deal with the bunch of stuff that we need to go deal with. And they go and talk to the scientist that was working with Basilisk, Dr. Visyak, who is now working on the Resurrection Man project because they have the hand of Mitch Shelley, and they're just basically trying to figure out if they can get it to regenerate a full person again. So Waller's happy about that. Then she goes into the room where Iceberg is regenerating his arm because he lost it in the previous fight. And now his new arm is 100% ice. And he's like, what in the hell is happening to me? And they're like, we don't know. We're going to look into it. Then we go over to King Shark because he's being deprogrammed from Basilisk training, as Iceberg will have to do soon. And he is clearly not enjoying it, but out of the shadows comes Yo-Yo, who's like, hey, King Shark, I'm just here to tell you that I know the truth. I know the real reason why you're here. And then that scene ends. And then we go to El Diablo's cell, where he is super pissed off that he was worshipping Regulus, even if he was brainwashed or whatever. And he like lights up his fire or whatever. And he's immediately extinguished by his cell's anti-fire measures. And so they say, like, all right, you know what? I've lost more than ever. I'm in the pits of despair. I'm going to go ahead and stop praying for God's help, and I'm just going to go full on in. Lucifer, give me your hellfire. And he seems to get some new sort of black fire thing coming on. And then we go to deep in the bowels of Belle Reve, where Black Spider, because of his traitorous ways, is being held up in a cell with lasers trained on him. And Waller comes up basically saying, like, why'd you do it, man? There's no way you actually believe in what Basilisk was saying about, like, the superpowers and all that stuff. And he's like, no, I totally believe in that. Like, you know as well as I do that those superheroes, one day, they will, like, exterminate all of us. We will have to bow to them. The only way to stop it is to stop it now. Stop it while it's still early. And those who don't try to stop it will all disappear or die. And so as Waller's walking out, he's like, you know I'm right, you know I'm right. So Then we cut over to after Batman 13, where Harley's walking away from her task for Joker, and she's like, "Okay, Joker, I'm done now. The deal's a deal. You leave me alone. Okay, bye." And as she tries to leave, Joker's like, I wonder, are you Harley or are you back to Dr. Quinzel? And she's like, I don't know what you mean. Goodbye now. And Joker manages to get a chain noose around her neck and pull her up tight so she's choking out. And she's like, well, why don't you just hang out for a few, Harley? Ha 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 ha. It's okay. I mean, as a Death of the Family tie-in, it's I don't think it was here's the thing. I know, because I know what happens in the future of the New 52, that this is what leads to Harley becoming independent. This is kind of her point where she becomes the character that we all know her as now. So with that in mind, I think that it is a interesting story. It's a good way to start it off, where Harley's like, no, you're kind of a bit too much right now, Joker. So I like that. I think that it's a solid setup. However, they don't have that established in the story, that she is like completely done with Joker. She's like kind of still in and out. So obviously there's potential in this particular issue. It does just feel like kind of okay, the last arc is done. Let's get our bearings real quick so we know where all the characters are. We know what everyone is doing. And setting up the Joker's probably going to be the overarching villain to the next couple issues, though how much of that's going to be the team as a whole compared to just Harley, I guess we'll see. I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it a 6.5. And the only reason that I hold back from a 7 is just because it does feel very, while it's supposed to be tying into Death of the Family, it still feels very separate. It still feels very different from the event as a whole. Like, Harley has nothing to do with the whole Joker wants to take out the Bat Family thing. It just happens to be Joker's active right now, so we're going to use Harley. Not bad, but definitely not. It's a tie-in for the sake of why not, rather than here's a good reason.